I don't want excuses. I want her gone. The words were cold, sharp, final. The air inside the executive office smelled like polished wood and expensive perfume. Miranda Cole stood by the wide glass window of Silverbrook Medical Center, staring down at the employee parking lot below. A nurse was emptying her locker. 4 years of dedication. 4 years of night shifts. 4 years of holding dying hands. Gone in a single afternoon. And Miranda didn't blink, because power had made her comfortable with destruction. She adjusted the diamond bracelet on her wrist and turned toward the CEO. "I expect it handled," she said calmly. It was. Who was Miranda Cole? Miranda wasn't a doctor. She wasn't a nurse. She didn't know how to start an IV or read a monitor. But she controlled the funding. And in a hospital, money is oxygen. Miranda was the chairwoman of the Cole Healthcare Trust. She had poured millions into Silverbrook. Entire wings had her family name engraved in gold. Doctors stood when she entered. Administrators straightened their ties. Nobody challenged her. Her husband, Thomas, once warned her during dinner, "You don't see people anymore. You see positions." She smiled and changed the subject. Compassion had slowly been replaced by control, and control felt safer. The nurse who didn't bow. Her name was Elena Cruz, 30 years old, calm voice, steady hands, observant eyes. Patients loved her because she listened, not the polite kind of listening, the real kind. The kind where you remember a patient's grandson's name. The kind where you stay 5 extra minutes even when your shift is over. Elena's father had raised her alone after her mother died. He told her one thing she never forgot. Respect isn't given to power, it's given to character. Elena lived by that. Until the afternoon, everything changed. The moment. Miranda stormed down the pediatric hallway, phone pressed tightly to her ear. "Reschedule it. I don't care how," she snapped. Elena stepped aside immediately and held the heavy double doors open out of courtesy. But the supply cart beside her wheel clipped the edge of the door. A small saline bottle tipped. It didn't shatter, it didn't explode, just rolled slightly and spilled one small drop. One clear drop landed on Miranda's designer heel. Silence. The hallway froze. Miranda looked down at her shoe, then slowly looked up. Elena met her eyes. Not rude, not defiant, just steady, unintimidated. And that, more than the drop, irritated Miranda. Because Elena didn't shrink, she simply said, "I'm sorry about that." Calm, balanced, unafraid. Miranda said nothing, but something inside her had already decided. 2 weeks later, Miranda sat across from the hospital CEO. "She was aggressive with my daughter during a routine blood draw," Miranda said smoothly. It was a lie. Her daughter Lily hadn't even been touched roughly, but Miranda knew exactly what her influence could do. The hospital relied heavily on her donations, nearly $3 million annually, and funding speaks louder than truth. By the end of the business day, Elena Cruz was terminated. No prior complaints, no warnings, just escorted out quietly. She didn't cry. She simply folded her badge into her pocket and walked out of the building she once loved. That same evening, Miranda attended a charity gala. She stood under golden lights and gave a speech about human dignity in healthcare. The audience applauded, and she slept peacefully. 2 years later, the house was quiet. Too quiet. Miranda was reviewing emails in the kitchen when she heard the sound. A glass hitting the floor, then a body collapsing. Lily? She ran. Her 22-year-old daughter was lying on the marble tiles, pale, barely conscious. Her hands were trembling. Her breathing was shallow. "Mom," Lily whispered before her eyes rolled back. The diagnosis. The hospital room felt different when you weren't the one in control. Machines beeped. Doctors spoke in careful tones. Tests ran for hours. Then came the verdict. A rare autoimmune vascular disorder. Aggressive, unpredictable, already attacking vital organs. "She needs immediate surgical intervention," the lead physician explained. "But it's high risk." Miranda gripped the edge of the table. "Call whoever you need. I'll fund it. I'll fly them in. Just fix it." They already had someone. One of the best. Dr. Adrian Okoye, a renowned specialist in complex vascular surgery. He agreed to take the case, but during the pre-surgical meeting, he said something unexpected. "I'll perform the operation," he said calmly, "but I need one specific nurse in the operating and recovery team." Miranda nodded impatiently. "Name her. Consider it done." He didn't hesitate. Elena Cruz. The name hit like a physical blow. The room felt smaller. The nurse she erased. The nurse she accused. The nurse she discarded. Dr. Okoye continued, unaware of the history. "She has the sharpest post-operative instincts I've ever worked with. Twice she caught complications seconds before monitors did. I won't do this surgery without her." Miranda's throat tightened. "She doesn't work here anymore," she managed. "Then find her," he said simply. "She's the difference between good odds and the best odds." The truth mirror. That night, Miranda sat beside Lily's hospital bed. For the first time in years, she felt powerless. Completely. Utterly. Powerless. Lily's voice was weak. "Mom, am I going to be okay?" Miranda forced a smile. "Yes, of course." But she didn't know, and money couldn't buy certainty. Around 3 a.m., she stepped into the empty hallway and finally allowed herself to cry. Not quiet tears, real ones, because suddenly the universe felt very balanced. The life she had disrupted so easily now stood between her daughter and survival. Finding Elena. It took effort. Elena had rebuilt her life. After being fired, she struggled for months. Interviews ended awkwardly when previous employment was mentioned. Eventually, she accepted a position at a small community clinic across town, Riverside Community Care. Lower pay, longer hours, more heart. When Miranda walked into that clinic, she didn't look like the powerful chairwoman anymore. No diamonds, no assistant, no designer confidence. Just a mother with red eyes. Elena recognized her immediately. Silence filled the small hallway. Miranda spoke first. "My daughter is critically ill." Elena said nothing. "The surgeon won't operate without you." Still silence. Miranda swallowed her pride, something she had almost forgotten how to do. "What I did to you was wrong." The words felt foreign in her mouth. "I lied. I used my position. I hurt you." Elena's expression didn't change. "You didn't just hurt me," she said softly. "You questioned my integrity. That's everything to a nurse." Miranda nodded. "I know." And for once, she truly did. "She could die," Miranda whispered. The room felt heavy. Elena looked down for a moment. She remembered the humiliation, the escorted walk, the unanswered calls, the months of doubt. Then she remembered Lily, the nervous teenager who once squeezed her hand before a vaccine. "Promise you won't leave?" Lily had asked back then. "I promise," Elena had said. Elena looked back at Miranda. "When is the surgery?" The operating room was colder than usual, or maybe it just felt that way. Miranda stood outside the glass viewing panel, her hands trembling for the first time in years. Inside, Dr. Adrian Okoye prepared calmly, and beside him, Elena Cruz. Focused, steady, professional. No resentment in her posture,
No hesitation in her hands, just duty, just skill, just purpose. Miranda watched as Elena adjusted the monitors, checked the IV lines, and quietly reviewed Lily's vitals. For a brief second, Elena looked up. Their eyes met through the glass. There was no anger there, just concentration, and something stronger than pride: integrity. 6 hours. The procedure was complex, delicate vascular repair. Inflammation had spread farther than expected. Every movement mattered. 4 hours in, an alarm pierced the room. Lily's blood pressure dropped sharply, a dangerous drop, the kind that steals lives in seconds. The monitors began to flash. A junior nurse hesitated, but Elena didn't. She stepped in immediately. Pressure's falling, adjusting infusion rate. Her voice was calm but urgent. She recalculated medication dosage in her head faster than the machine updated. She repositioned a line, signaled Dr. Okoye. Left branch narrowing, compensate now. He trusted her instantly, adjusted, stabilized. For 3 long seconds, the heart monitor showed a fragile rhythm. Then, steady. Beep, beep, beep. Lily's vitals stabilized. The crisis had passed. Dr. Okoye glanced at Elena briefly, a silent acknowledgement. Without her, they might have lost her. 2 more hours later, the surgery was complete. Successful. The wait. When Dr. Okoye stepped into the waiting area, Miranda stood up before he even spoke. "She's stable," he said. Miranda nearly collapsed with relief. The surgery went well, but thank Nurse Cruz. He looked directly at her. She saved critical minutes, possibly her life. Miranda's eyes filled instantly, because she understood something now. The woman she had tried to erase had chosen not to erase her daughter. The conversation. Days later, Lily was awake, weak but smiling. Miranda stood outside a recovery room as Elena finished checking the monitors. "Thank you" didn't feel big enough, but it was all she had. "What I did to you," Miranda said quietly, "was cruel." Elena didn't interrupt. "I thought influence made me important. I thought control meant strength." She exhaled. "I was wrong." There was no audience, no board members, no applause, just truth. Elena studied her for a moment. "Power doesn't change who we are," Elena said softly. "It reveals it." The words landed deeper than any accusation ever could. Miranda nodded. "I want to make it right." What real power looks like. Weeks later, Lily walked out of the hospital on her own. Slow steps, but strong. Miranda kept her word. She publicly cleared Elena's record, issued a formal apology to the board, reinstated her with the promotion offer. Elena accepted, not for Miranda, but for the patients, for the ones who needed someone who noticed the small changes, the subtle shifts, the almost missed signs. And Miranda, she changed too. Not overnight, not perfectly, but genuinely, because she had learned something no amount of money could teach. Real power is not the ability to remove someone, it's the ability to choose grace when revenge would be easier. Elena had every reason to walk away. Instead, she walked into an operating room and saved the life of the daughter of the woman who once destroyed hers. How you treat people always comes back, sometimes as regret, and sometimes as the only hands capable of saving what you love most.